So the primary thing that you need to understand about merchantry is you need to choose 4 yellow workers, usually with high dexterity and high strength, and stick with them the entire time. Like, don't interchange your workers. Always make sure you have the same workers going into merchantry every single time, because their skills will all level together. And their skills are what basically matter. Everything revolves around your merchant's skills leveling up. That's the whole purpose of this. So I've zoned in, and there's this key area over to the side of the screen. When you zone in, you'll see I have 1 minute and 56 seconds left before the events transition or change. Now, usually I zone into, like everybody, into Velia or wherever you're stationed. I choose the Velia and Western Guard camp route, and I'll explain why later. But when you zone in, if you see that there's a couple minutes left on the timer, make sure you exit the town immediately and try and get in as many events as possible, as you'll see me do here. I exit, check the map, see where the closest thing is that I can get, some events in before it switches over, and then I immediately get to them. So the sole purpose of merchantry is doing these events. And a thing to remember on your merchantry quest list is that you actually have to finish a series of quests to unlock the other quests. So you have to make sure the moment that you finish them, you collect them so that it unlocks the next series of quests in your dailies to get more money, obviously. So this is just a small little part of merchantry, but one to not forget. So you can see I'm only level 2 in combat, but I already get 2 loot chests. So imagine if I was level 4 or level 5. You would immediately get 4 loot chests from just one single event. That is the most important thing about merchantry. Okay, so just some simple stuff. Obviously, you have 2 flags to the side of your screen. These are your destinations. When you make your destinations, it shows up when you go to purchase things, a little flag beside what's going to be saleable at the next destination. So just utilize those flags to choose between your 2 routes, and it'll show you once you go to buy what you want to actually buy to sell. So I've loaded out, and this is where things get a little bit more tricky or interesting, okay? So with merchantry, I've gone to my first destination, and usually at your first destination, you can't make any exchanges, you can't make any sales or any of those things. You can only purchase for the next destination, which I find the Velia and the Western Guard camp, as presented in the video, is the shortest destination with the most event tickets. But not just that, but it's on this map, the Wandering Merchant spawns in 3 areas or 4 areas, and 3 of those areas are between Velia and the Western Guard camp. So it's easy access to get to him to be able to make purchases. The other one is up in the top north corner in the Kron's Castle, which I never ever go to, but it makes it a lot easier to get to that merchant. And you'll see in the video here, immediately he spawns before I've even left Velia, and I go to him. So the thing to consider when you spawn out of your camp for the first time is you open up your map and you look at how many events are there. And you want to make sure that your event tally, you have like a few whites, a bunch of greens, hopefully some blues, hopefully even further than blues, like yellows, reds, blah, blah, blah. But you want to calculate how many events there are quickly between the bottom south route of the map and the north route of the map. So hopefully that equals a total of like 20 events. You're really reaching for 20 to 25 events in one single run, and if you can, even more, because this is essentially what's available at the route. I think with this one there's 18, but I'm going to count right now. So as you can see, one of the Wandering Merchant spawns has happened, and it's literally like 200 away from where I'm currently at. So I obviously go there, pick up some stuff, and, resale whatever you want to do with this stuff. The Wandering Merchant usually has great things to not only buy, but you can also sell stuff. Sometimes I take in like those little loads of drops that I get of these and fill my whole cart with a bunch of stuff, because the Wandering Merchant might be able to sell like 10 of those things at 200%. So you make quite a bit of cash. The other thing I want you to notice is that with every event that I do, you'll see that there's a ring around the event that shows you kind of your move limit within that event as your merchants are doing it. I usually typically like to move to the edge of the ring or in the direction of where I'm going next, and even like towards the direction of the next event, so that it's a very easy and simple click to move to the next events. So as you can see, I quickly get through my events, and I'm going the south route. So normally it's a big circle to go to the south route to the Western Guard camp, get in, sell your stuff, and then go the north route to get the rest of the events on the way back to Velia. So you'll see that real quick when I exit the town. But now I'm entering the town. So the second most important thing other than events in Merchantry is exchanges. So every single time you go into a new town that wasn't your spawn town, you can buy and sell, but you can also exchange. And I don't have a ton of amity like the guy in the other video does. I'm just starting this route because of that video, so I have to build it up. But basically you have to continuously exchange and sell and buy to be able to increase your amity. So having a bunch of resources is really good, like 10k to start in every resource, so that when you start Merchantry you can easily just shift around the 2k that it asks for to exchange for resources to get a couple hundred more. Sometimes it's like 500 more, sometimes it's 200 more, sometimes it's 600 more. Either way, you can continuously keep exchanging and getting more and more resources. Some will go low, some will go higher. You know, that's just kind of the way it works. But you'll always be increasing at least whichever one you choose to exchange. So just to touch on what the other video said, the reason why is because eventually when you get up to high amity, you can start exchanging for really great stuff like dust and Tower of Trials passes and all those kinds of things. So there's tons and tons of loot that come out of exchanges that are really, really great and really important, just like the event loot. So I looked through the saleable stuff and there was nothing there to go back to Velia with. So sometimes it's good, like if you realize what Velia likes all the time, you can bring in resources with you to continuously sell that you can get outside of Merchantry. But I didn't buy anything. However, there is a daily that's like purchase one specialty item and sell one specialty item. So this one here was at negative 15% return. So that's not a terrible return to just sell that and then get the money back through completing the actual daily, which also gives you EXP, because I want as much Merchantry EXP as I can possibly get right now. So to try and avoid this video going any more than fucking 10 minutes, as you can see, I'm back at Velia. When you go back into Velia, this is the end of your route. You go in, you check your exchanges, do all your exchanges, and you leave and reset the instance. And the reason why is because you have 10 minutes before the instance resets, so you can either sit in Velia and wait it out because your food doesn't deteriorate while you're in a town, or you can just exit and reset it. The reason why I like to exit and reset it is because I might get that bonus like extra 2 minutes before it resets when I come back in, and I can go out and do a bunch more events, and then it resets and I do a bunch more. So if I tally from the beginning of when I got there for those 2 minutes, I actually did 6 events and then 17 with the full round route. That, you know, is 23 events in one run. And that's what you want to be doing. You want to continuously be getting event after event after event. So you just literally exit, your Merchantry report comes up, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then after that, you just go back in. You wait the period, you go back in, and you rinse and repeat and do the exact same thing. I'm going to put the video on high speed so you can kind of see what that means and what it looks like, and you just go through it again. So you always want to make sure you have at least like 17, like 15, 17 plus, into the 20s even better, events for your entire route. You want to make sure that you know, you have enough food and all those kinds of things. And then all you do is you run down your food tally. So when you come back in, you'll be full food, and you keep doing that until your food deteriorates. And then when you get down to the last 10% of food, which is basically the last bar, so you have like 1 bar of food at the end, and it's blinking red and everything, you go back to town and actually wait out the timer. So this could be like 10 minutes or whatever, but still it's well worth it. You wait out the timer. If you've done all your events and you've done your route, you wait it out. And then once it resets, you go back out again and just get rid of all your food on all the events possible and go for like the highest ones, blues, you know, yellows, etc., etc. This is the best way to essentially do Merchantry, to level your guys, get as much amity as you can in one single route, and you do that same route over and over and over and over again until your food is depleted by going in, coming out, resetting the timer, going in, coming out, resetting the events, and doing as many events as possible in that short amount of time with that amount of food. And this is why this area really stands out to me, because there's so many events that spawn up, plus the Wandering Merchant that's very close in those 3 spawns, like I said earlier. So remember, the key things: choose one route, stick to it, because you'll gain amity. Choose a route that's very dense with events, and also a short distance to be able to sell and exchange. and then, you know, get your wandering merchant as much as possible. Count how many events there are when you get out of town. Make sure it's worthwhile to do it, or you can just exit and reset immediately. Rather than waiting for a reset or doing the route at all, you can just exit, come back in, and then do more events that way and get a better route with more events. All these things. So this is the way that these guys are getting to really high-level merchantry with really high-level merchants and getting tons and tons and tons of loot by having the events spawn 3, 4, 5 rewards instead of just one. And you get to a point where you can start exchanging for event tokens and crystals and all that kind of stuff as well. So hopefully this was beneficial. I feel like it was a little bit more direct and to the point than the other guy's video. He didn't really talk about what was going on, really, you know, in a very explained way, I felt like. So I just wanted to make this really clear video to show you exactly what the process is that he's talking about. And the last note, very rarely will I actually use the auto feature to go to towns. I'm manually moving my character around to ping pong between these events properly.